Typical Leafs fashion, Friday little news dump here on the road against the Sabres. Jay's Dodgers World Series Game 1. And Rosie, the Leafs think they're slick. Slide in there. Joseph Woll making his return back to the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think we should clarify as well, off the top here of this instant reaction, Zach Phillips alongside Jay Rosehill. We don't know anything. We don't know where he was, what happened. We don't really have answers at this point of time what that timeline will be for return, but what we do know is he's returning to the organization, and that at very minimum, Rosie, that's got to be a positive sign, correct?
Yeah, I was shocked when I saw that news. I was not expecting it. Me and Nick were talking this morning about the possibility of could this just be a season-long thing? Like, could he just be gone and we'd resign to the fact that we weren't going to get any news anytime soon? And then a couple hours later, he's back. So great news. I'm glad and I hope that whatever was going on, he's taking care of it and it's behind him. Again, everyone's going to speculate on what it was. We try not to and respect his privacy, but bottom line is for the Maple Leafs and for Anthony Stolarz, this is a good thing, and I'm excited to have him back because let's be honest, we were kind of walking on thin ice there, playing Stoli as much as we could, not having a proven reliable backup. And last year we touted the whole time on how great it was to have these number 1 and 2 1-1 guys between the pipes to rely on, and that was just taken away from us inexplicably at the beginning of the season. So it seemed like he was gone a lot longer. I guess it was probably only a handful of weeks, but it's a great thing. I'm glad he's back, and Leafs Nation should be excited about it.
Yeah, I guess the one thing, if you're a reporter that's going into that room or somebody around the team, like when we see Nick Alberga's phone popping up on TV later with his phone in somebody's face, let's just eliminate the idea of asking questions about where he was or what happened because nobody's going to tell you. I think we should establish that right away. We're never going to find out. And respect to his privacy, as you mentioned. So it is what it is. Just glad he's back. But again, as I kind of mentioned off the top, we don't know. We don't know what it was, injury, illness, personal matters, and we're not going to find out. But one thing we do know, Rosie, his gear was in the arena. It was in his stall, which would imply that he's not been skating. He's been taking some time away here. As somebody who played, as somebody who dealt with injuries or going in and out of lineups, respectfully, going through that, what do you kind of anticipate a timeline to return is going to be? Because, we're looking at here as the time of recording, the Leafs play tonight against the Sabres. They play tomorrow against the Sabres, and their schedule's jammed for the next, months practically. But, you look at the next couple of weeks, it's game after game after game. I don't think he's slotting in here on Saturday at 5 p.m. against the Sabres to make his first return.
No, he's going to take some time to get back into game shape and to get feeling good. Obviously, you take that much time off as a pro, especially as a goalie. I don't claim to know what they exactly endure physically, but it's difficult on the body, on the hips and the knees and the ankles. And Joseph Woll has had injuries before, and I'm sure they want to make sure he's feeling good and at up to snuff to play in the NHL before that happens. To me, with the long-term IR thing that he just went on, which everyone's pretty confused by the idea that they put him on long-term IR this morning and then announced that he comes back. But I believe it's a paper transaction to clear up some space that's retroactive to the beginning of the season that allows them to bring up Dakota and Mermis in the absence of a couple of D-men. And on that timeline, he won't even be able to play for the next 4 games, which I think is fine because he's going to have to get some reps in practice. He's probably going to be on a fresh sheet by himself with the goalie coach working on all the things that goaltenders work on. I wouldn't even be surprised if they slid him in a game with the Toronto Marlies just to get some reps and some game speed going where it doesn't matter as much as sliding in between the pipes for the Maple Leafs. So I'm not expecting an imminent return. I don't think anyone is or should be, but just the fact that he's back in that locker room with the team and has dealt with whatever issues were going on, I think is a real good sign and super exciting, not just for everyone in Leafs Nation, but more importantly for Anthony Stolarz, as it was kind of nail-biting watching him take the majority of the workload between the pipes. And we know that how important he is, how valuable he is, and also has had, injury problems in the past. So a breath of fresh air for Leafs Nation for sure.
So let's go to Stolarz here quickly. The Leafs have played 7 games. They're about to play their 8th game of the season here tonight. Stolarz has played 6 of the 7. He's 2-3-1. He's got an .894 save percentage. He's got a 3.01 GAA. These are like the worst numbers that he's experienced basically in his professional career to this point. How much of a relief do you think it is for him to just know that he's got that guy coming to return, even though he's not going to be on the bench here tonight, tomorrow, whatever, maybe another week? Just the fact that he's back in the building, back in the city, he's going to be working, they're around each other. How much do you think of positive impact that has on Anthony Stolarz, even though we're not going to see it come to fruition right away, where all of a sudden it's like, hey, okay, now you don't have to play this game because that guy can help you out?
Yeah, I think it takes a load off of him physically and mentally, right? Because he wants to help the team out. He understands that, no disrespect to Primo or anything, but he needs to play to give them the best chance to win. And that just wasn't 100% the case when he had Joseph Woll as a backup. So it's going to alleviate some pressure for him 100%. As far as him thinking, oh, great, now I have someone to play because I can. It's not that type of mentality or like a weak thing or any of that. But these goalies these days, they don't play. It's not Marty Brodeur back in the 90s where you're playing 65 games a year. They hit the schedule pretty heavily. And one of the great things about the Leafs right now is that they have two very competent goaltenders, one of them being Joseph Woll. So I think it alleviates some pressure. As much physically as it is workload as it is mentally, because now they can look at the schedule and start to kind of plan, okay, I can play here and there, and here's where we'll switch hit, and this is a back-to-back coming up that I don't have to worry about. I just think it alleviates some of the stress, and we've seen that last year where they're able to switch hit and ham and egg it a little bit between the pipes and get the most out of their position that way, which is a luxury not all teams have.
Joseph Woll obviously left the team September 23rd. It's been a while since we've seen him, heard from him. So final question I'm going to ask from you here with that in mind is, we heard all camp it was a lighter mood. It was a more positive mood. Everybody was all happy and excited, and, it's like this weight off their shoulders, something had changed. Well, and again, this question is more, a speculative kind of situation here, Rosie. I'm going to just kind of dig into something and just imagine, because I thought about this myself. So I want to get your opinion on it. Do you think Joseph Woll's return brings some type of lightness to the locker room? There's obviously awareness of what's going on in the media, the market, the record, the way that they're playing, yada, 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 and that they're paying attention to that. But when he left, it kind of felt like there was always just this dark cloud that was lingering around. Maybe not directly over the team, but when you looked at them and the troubles they were dealing with, there was like this little cloud off on its own that was just raining, trailing behind them. And it was the absence of Joseph Woll. Nobody knows. They get asked about it. They're not going to answer the questions, all of that. He's back here. It's a guy they're comfortable with, familiar with. The questions are done. You don't have to answer, when's he coming back? What happened to him? He's here. He's back. He's in the room. Do you think that helps with the mood and the mindset of these guys at all, or am I looking too much into this? And you can tell me I'm looking too much into it. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that, some of the woes they've had over the start of the season have been because they're missing Joseph Woll or they're worried about Joseph Woll. They got a job to do and they needed to do it, and they haven't done it up to snuff. But as far as just alleviating the tension in the room from a kind of a somewhat poor start compared to their expectations, getting a guy back in the room like that, who by all accounts is very likable and competent, and just the perspective that it gives maybe the team to say, this guy went through something, we believe it's personal, has dealt with it and feels good enough to come back and be part of that team, is just simply a positive aspect to bring into the room. I think that the guys would be happy to see him. And like I said, maybe bring some perspective on what's going on with the team in the first 7 games. If that changes the mood or changes the mentality towards this weekend or whatever it is, great. I don't know if that's going to be the case. It would be impossible to even, quantify what that is. But nonetheless, getting a player back who is going through something into the locker room, who is part of that team and is very likable, is anything but negative, right? They're gonna be happy to have him, happy to see him, and hopefully they can rally around him and start to get that mood in the locker room to be where it should be and start winning some games and set the table maybe for a little bit easier of a return for him when that time does come.
I will say, as a fan, I feel a little bit more at ease knowing that he's returning, because the longer it went, the less we heard. I kind of just started to feel like, okay, No disrespect to Primo, but this is a less than ideal goalie setup that we've got going right now. Knowing Joseph Woll is coming back and he'll likely make his season debut for the Maple Leafs in a regular season game very soon, or in the near future, I should say, because we don't actually know when that date will be. It just makes me personally feel a little bit better, so I'll take that. I'll take it all day.
100%. It was, it's not like we're waiting for a domino to fall, but when you're teetering on that edge of having your star goalie carrying the workload and not having a whole lot of depth behind him, it is scary. And we have been following the Leafs for a long time, and we know what types of things happen to the team. So we're just kind of waiting and teetering on some bad news to be left with Primo and Hildeby to go for, who knows, if Woll does something, if Stolarz hurts himself and he's out 4 weeks, where does that leave this team trying to, gain points in this division and get their season on track and get October behind them and start rolling like they do in the past? Very difficult to do if you were down Anthony Stolarz as well. So we're going in the right direction here. Got Joseph Woll back. Timetable is uncertain, but it's sooner than later. We know that now, and that's a breath of fresh air, no doubt.
There you have it. Joseph Woll rejoining the Toronto Maple Leafs. He was announced that he was leaving the team September 23rd. Here he is, October 24th. And the Leafs just slipping that one in there conveniently. World Series Game 1, the Leafs heading to Buffalo on the first night of a back-to-back, and he's rejoining the team. If you liked the video, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe here, Leaf Station 401, right here on YouTube. Leafs Morning Take, Monday to Friday, every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Jay, Rosehill, Nick Alberga, and myself with game previews and Leaf Station After Dark for every Leafs game day. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys soon.
Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long-form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.